welcome back to the show. This week we are talking about everything in terms of developing your copywriter portfolio when you have zero experience. Sound like a scary thought? Yeah, just hang on and bear with me on this one. I'll break it down for you so it sounds a lot more manageable. I know I've been getting a lot of questions about this recently. It is quite an overwhelming prospect when you're new and you're starting out and you're like, I need to get this, I need to scale, I want to get clients. How do I show them examples? Right, well, I've got a few ideas for you today. Can I just say that I felt exactly the same as you when I was starting out. And other kind people helped me. So I'm here to share everything I know so that you can get past those beginner things without too much of a worry. Okay, right, let's get to work on your portfolio right away. Okay, my first top tip is to either join a practical copywriting program or join a group, say for example on Facebook, that are really supportive. This is a shout out. Personally, I will recommend this to the hills because it is amazing, this program. I personally joined the Comprehensive Copywriting Academy by Filthy Rich Writer. And what I found was that it wasn't just about learning how to copyright. It was as well like getting your business goals in line at the same time. So they set manageable tasks that were geared towards you having something to show those potential clients, either when they reach out to you or when you're pitching them. So this is why I'm saying, you know what, you need to find a great copywriting program. Now, I'm not saying you have to go with Comprehensive Copywriting Academy. You might have chosen someone else. I know Alex Catoni's got an amazing one as well, very practical. But what they do is they will set you or give you ideas for what you can put on your portfolio. So when you're starting out, it's great to just have that thinking taken away, and then you can start to build your own examples from what you've learned about those examples, if that makes sense. So when I was working then with my first clients, then I was able to add in little bits to my portfolio as time went on. But it's just those first examples that are so important, aren't they? Right, another example as well. Another idea for you is maybe reach out to friends at the beginning. Do tell them that you're a copywriter, particularly professional friends. If you've got any other networks, say for example, I don't know, you worked in catering or you worked in medical side of things, you work for a doctor or something like that. Maybe you've got people who they might need a copywriting doing. So what you could say, look, is, you know what, I'm going to charge you less, and then can I use this piece in my portfolio? And there you've got a real life brief, you've got a real life project to share. So try to hold off on the new jargon you've learned when you message them through like, say, Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp. Just explain exactly how you can help them. Make it really accessible, and then you're more likely to get those first projects for your portfolio. I would say go for it all the way with paid, okay? Because I think people respect you more if you are, like, asking to be paid, even though you're reaching out to them, if that makes sense. So even if you structure it so it's not as well paid, but it's building your portfolio, fair enough. But I would not do too many freebies. One freebie at the most, and then that's it. Okay, right. So another one you can do, which I'm developing some resources for, so check back on the resources page for copywriters on my website, helennuttall.com, is to do a summary of your recent relevant experience, and this is called, sometimes referred to as your selected credits. So basically you're saying to a potential client, okay, this is me at the beginning of a copywriting journey, but this is the experience that I'm bringing with me that is relevant to copywriting that makes me a good fit for your project because I understand what you need completely. Okay, so you can start doing that before you've even developed your portfolio. So maybe just get yourself an A4, a letter-sized piece of paper, UK, US, and some lovely pens, and just create a map of ideas of your relevant experience. Just write everything down. Don't worry about it too much. And then from this one piece of paper, maybe get another coloured pen and circle the things that you think are really relevant to copywriting. That is what's going to go on your selected credits resume. Okay, maybe you've written emails for a company's website. Maybe you're a teacher, and teachers are always writing, aren't they? They're demonstrating writing to their class. Maybe they're helping students with grammar errors. Maybe they sent out a weekly entertaining newsletter for their class. Maybe you ran social media for a small local business you worked for. There's all sorts of things that even sometimes we don't even realize before then we're copywriting. So all this stuff really counts because you're demonstrating your writing skills there. You're demonstrating that you have an awareness of an audience and what they need too. And not only that, do you know what? If you think about it, some of those things that you have on that paper, they will demonstrate as well that you were able to research. So maybe you worked, I don't know, in a lab, in a science setting where you did have to do research before you did experiments or before you set up, research, scientific research. This is massively relevant because part of your job as a copywriter is to do independent research into an audience. So if they can see higher analytical skills, bonus, okay? So this is all good stuff. Right, so from that, as I described before, you can create what's called a selected credits resume. Now, on the blog post that's on my website, I will load up a link that you can view a couple of examples, and also you got the chance to look at the resources I will be loading up there soon that will help just get that selected credit resume sorted for you. All you have to do is just edit it, get yourself a free Canva account, and then you're up and running. You can send that to people saying, look, this is me, and then, along with your cover letter, and you're sorted. Okay, so another idea for you when you're starting out, as you're, obviously, you might not have all your copywriter website set up at this point, so sending out a selected credits resume would be a quick way of getting some work in. Another idea as well, while you're trying to load up your copywriter portfolio website, is to create some minimum viable samples. So by this I mean it's just a fancy way of saying you can have some examples of copy that are good to go to show a prospect. So maybe you like email copywriting. So you've seen a client that may benefit from a welcome sequence. Maybe you have an example of a nurturing or welcoming email that you can put in context. So like, say, you can mock up in, say, like ConvertKit or Active Campaign or MailerLite. MailerLite, just on a side, MailerLite and ConvertKit both have free versions, so you can load your copy up there and then do a screenshot of it so they can see what you're capable of and what the copy looks like in context. So, and you can, what I would do with that, if you're sending minimum viable samples, do a few different ones. So like maybe an example of part of a web page, maybe an example of a landing page, maybe an example of an ad, like a Facebook ad or something like that. So you've got different areas, and if that client is looking for, specific focus, You're not going to send them a sales page sample if they're looking for email copy. Does that make sense? So like you've got things ready to go, but they are focused in on what the client needs or what you think the client needs if you're pitching them. Okay, so just the steps to get through this. I would choose your project, okay, first. So that's step one. There's so many projects that you can choose. So maybe, again, on another piece of paper, just plan out, say, for example, the next 3 projects, mini viable samples you're going to create. And then from there, maybe, like, say, if one's an email project, maybe take a look at your inbox and see if there's any examples of emails that really frustrate you. You love the brand, but maybe they frustrate you because they're not quite hitting the mark. You could take that idea, okay? Just print it off, and then you've got the nucleus of an idea there. Okay, and then say for your other samples, say if you were doing a sales page, okay, I love this entrepreneur, but I've seen her sales page, and I think that I could do, I don't know, maybe the middle section where she's describing a product or a course. Maybe you could rewrite that. Because you don't think it's quite hitting the mark for people. It's a great one to write copy for a product you know, like, and trust already. So maybe you've already bought a course. Maybe that is a good starting point, okay? I did one on my portfolio for something I'd already bought already. And because I knew, liked, and trusted it already, I knew a lot of information before I started. I had to obviously check and research, but it was a lot quicker because I knew that already. Then step 2, once you've got, say, for example, your 3 ideas for your first projects for your viable copy samples, write your own copywriting brief. So there's going to be a free template loaded up soon to the blog post related to this. I will add the link to the podcast episode as soon as I've created that. You have to bear with me. I've been on holiday last week, so it's all up in the air. That's another story, actually. I'll go into that later. I will be telling that story in a bit when I've got some answers. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back to it. So write your own copywriting brief. That is basically what the goal of the say, for example, the email is, what you want the person to do who's reading that. So you're going to fill it in. And what that does is that keeps you tightly to focusing on what should be on that page, okay? And then next, I want you to then it's the hard work. It's the creating the actual copy, okay? So make sure you print off your brief, and it's sat next to you, it's filled in. And then what I would suggest actually is, like, a lot of you maybe are on courses, or maybe you're in a free group on Facebook. Maybe approach another copywriter who's at a similar level to you and then say, you know what, if I give you some feedback for one of your spec ads, would you be able to give me some feedback on some of my copy? And then you're creating that collaborative process where somebody else is reviewing what you've done and giving you feedback. So you're getting used to that copywriting process as well, which is really good to get used to that. It's never going to be easy to accept feedback. It's always a challenge. But if you get more and more used to it, that's a really good thing. Right, okay, so step 3 then, once you've created your copy for your minimum viable samples, you can format it then to go onto your online portfolio. Okay, so you could so let's just be clear. You can actually add that then to your selected credits portfolio. So your little selected credits resume, you could add a section to that to say, look, you know what, I've created some examples. Or you could still send your selected credits resume, but then in the email to the person, you would be linking through now to the samples. Now, it's really cool is this, because you can format them for your online portfolio, so your copywriter website, and then at the same time you can get them formatted so that you can just send them to potential clients as like PDFs or, you know, like photos that they can look at. Okay, right, so it's going to save a lot of time if you think about that while you're creating it. So personally, I would keep a copy of the actual copywriting on a shareable document like a Word document or a G drive. Okay, so because I usually deliver to a client on G drive. Okay, on my online portfolio, I would probably convert the Word documents of the copy to a PDF. So like anybody could click on the link and just have a quick look at the copy, just the words. Okay. But if you want to represent it as well in the best possible way on your online portfolio, what you can do is reach out to a new graphic designer and just say, look, can we swap skills? Would you mind mocking this up as a graphic? You know, like say my landing page. Would you mind mocking this up? And then saying to them, look, you know what? Do you need any copy in return doing for you? Do you need anything for your site to explain what you do? And then you've got a copy swap going on there. You never know. Sometimes my colleagues have actually ended up like working as a team alongside a graphic designer, and they've found many clients doing that. Okay, so if it's email copy, like I said before, you could load it up into an email sender yourself and actually do a screenshot, save it as a PDF, save it as a JPEG, so that you can be sending these out to clients, but also you can load it up onto your website. So I would set up a folder with all those different things. The other thing as well is, right, so step 5, that's actually going into my next step really. Customizing the samples you send. Okay, so if you're sending direct to a potential client, which probably you will be in the first instance, because let's face it, copywriter website takes a while to set up. So make sure if you've used a graphic designer that they are sending you samples of your copy in a format that is not massive to send as an attachment on email. So talk to your designer about sending you a few different email file types. So if you like talk to them about this in the beginning, they'll understand what purposes you need this for. So maybe ask them to send one version as a PDF, a version as a JPEG, a version as a PNG if you need a high quality image for whatever reason. And then that way you've got the flexibility. Okay, you don't want to be sending massive documents to a client because they just won't open the next email that you send them. And in that said as well, so in preparation for you to load up these things onto your copywriter website, I would always look at making sure that I let my designer know what image sizes I need. So themes on websites, they usually come with explanation documents. They might be online themselves telling you what the best image sizes are for that theme. So I would just let your graphic designer know. Usually they're the minimum image size, so you want to be getting your graphic designer to maybe ×2 that image or ×3, just so that when you load them up it doesn't become blurred. So yeah, that's what I would be doing if I was customizing more of the samples. All right, so things to consider when sending copy samples or maybe building your copywriter portfolio. You can do some of the samples for these initial portfolios as a partial rewrite. You do not have to think, oh my goodness, you know, there's this long form sales page that I've seen and it's really not helping with conversions. I know it because it's just not engaging with the audience. You do not have to go in and rewrite the whole thing. Okay? So you simply don't have the time because you want to be attracting clients, right? So it's enough to show prospects how you would approach a task by just rewriting and explaining what you've done to improve the copy. Okay, so the last tip I'm going to share with you is when you're doing your copywriter portfolio at the beginning, and most of these things are made up. So like I had one, I think, for a shampoo company. Okay, an email. It's one of Nikki's famous, Nikki's the course director of Filthy Rich Writer. It's one of her famous tasks on that course for a baby conditioner. And what I needed to remember was, and I forgot at first, is to put the tag spec at the beginning, because that tells, say for example, the people out there, particularly on a website, and it tells your prospects that you've done this to show that you've got the skills to write copy for a business like that. It's not misleading anybody to say that you've actually worked for that shampoo company. Or, like if you put it online on your copywriter website, you don't want that company to think, well, hey, you know what? She's ripping me off there. She hasn't written that copy for us. So by putting spec at the beginning, you were alleviating that. You were saying to them, you know what, this is just an exercise for me to show my skills. Okay. And just as a quick conclusion, I just want to reassure you, I know there's a lot of information in this podcast episode. Building your copywriter portfolio, even at first with your selected credits and, you're building your minimum viable samples. It's overwhelming, isn't it? There's a lot to do. And you're learning at the same time. So all I'd say is just look at your calendar and plan it into manageable chunks. What is the time of day that you were most productive? Maybe just plan in a slot, no more than like 40 minutes long, and just do one thing at a time. So you're going to plan your first 3 minimum viable samples today. Are you going to be doing the briefs today? Or are you going to do one brief and then try writing some copy? How are you going to just break it down for yourself so that you feel confident? How are you going to reward yourself every time you make progress? You'll soon have, believe it or not, if you break it down, you'll soon have a well-rounded representation of your writing skills. And the even better thing about that is that, you know what? Show it off. Really do promote it. Send your clients to the links, and I can't wait actually to see your progress. So, but just think about this long term as well. Try to keep into the habit if you can, and everyone does this. Like I have got better at this recently, but try, when you do get your real life client projects, get into the habit of adding them to your portfolio as soon as you finish the project. And then that way your head's still in that project. Like you're going to be able to write the description of what you were doing onto the web page or, onto your PDF portfolio. And that way it's going to be super easy to keep it up to date. It's going to be super easy. You're not just feeling like you're building a whole website, every week then. Okay, so I hope that's been really helpful for you. And just let me know in the comments if you've got any more questions about copywriter portfolios. As I said, the whole load of links is going to be underneath this podcast episode. As soon as I've got the resources ready. I can't wait till next week. We are on, let's have a look next week. What are we on talking about? We are on talking about brand copywriting for copywriters. So 5 top tips on how you can develop your copywriter brand. So I'm so excited to be diving into that. I love talking all about branding and how copywriters can do that. So can't wait to see you there for that next week. Have a great week, and I'm glad you listened today. Okay, see you later.